Hey Dynamos, it's me, Miss Drass, and welcome to Writing. I have another Dynamo Adventure story to share with you today, so make sure you're listening for things you want to include in your Dynamo adventure. This is the Dynamos uncovering the secrets of 41 degrees, 46 north, 50 degrees, 14 west. Can you believe it? There's nothing to see here. Written and illustrated by Miss Drass. Dedicated to the Dynamos of 2011 to 12. One day in April, Logan went missing. The Dynamos searched and searched. Finally, they found him in the reading corner, buried under a stack of books about the Titanic. "Logan," said Jacob, "what are you doing?" Logan laid down the Titanic book he'd been reading and said, "I've been thinking of some ways we can make the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic a day to remember." "Logan," said Miss Drass, "you're supposed to be at math centers." "I know," said Logan, "but if we're going to make this happen, we've got to get started on my plan right now." "Is this an April Fool's joke?" Logan asked Andrew. "No way," said Logan. "I've got this all planned out, and I'll need everyone's help. Now follow me." Everyone followed Logan outside to the bus loop. All of the Dynamos got into the bus. Cohen drove us all to a secret hideout in the woods. "Where in the world are we?" asked Emily. "In a secret World War II underground bunker," answered Cohen. "It's the perfect place to discuss Logan's top secret plans," agreed Sydney. Everyone sat down in the chairs around the table. Logan wasted no time telling us his plan for celebrating the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. When he finished telling the Dynamos all of his plans, the room was dead silent. Finally, Miss Drass spoke. She said, "Logan, are you crazy?" "Of course not," said Logan. "Don't you think my idea is amazing?" Logan is a genius. I wonder when lunch is. "Well," said Drew, "it certainly won't be expected by anyone. It'll be a huge surprise. It will make the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic a day that no one will forget," Olivia added. Okay, said Miss Drass. "Let's take a vote. All in favor of carrying out Logan's plan, raise your right hand." And everyone did. It's unanimous, which means everyone agrees. After a few more hours of top-secret planning, Miss Drass and the Dynamos were ready to carry out Operation 41 degrees 46 north, 50 degrees 14 west. "Everyone to the bus," yelled Eric. "We've got shopping to do." Cohen drove the bus like a wild maniac to Walmart, where he dropped off Miss Drass, the stars, the rockets, the planets, and a shopping list. "Let's go, let's go!" Miss Drass put the STARS group in charge of the boat/water supplies like life jackets, ropes, and gasoline for the boat. This turned out to be a huge mistake because they filled their carts with anything that had the word water in the name, including water guns, water trampolines, and a waterbed. "What in the world are we going to do with a waterbed?" Miss Drass asked. "We need this stuff. Guys, what are you doing? This stuff isn't even on the list." "Oh, what are you going to do with the waterbed?" "Sleep on it." "Yeah," yelled all the stars. Okay, that might be useful," Miss Drass admitted. "But what do we need a water trampoline for?" Jason shrugged his shoulders. "You never know. We might need one," he said. Here's what the Dynamos are thinking of. Finally, Miss Drass let them keep everything in the cart except the mini waterfall. "The last thing we'll need is more water," she said. Meanwhile, the Planets group was off in the home improvement department, filling their carts with tools, extension cords, winches, chains, and paint. When Miss Drass saw the paint, she almost asked what it was for, but then she changed her mind. She figured they'd say something like, "Miss Drass, you never know, we might need this." Rocket's group was busy over in the food section, filling their carts with all the food we might need while working on the secret mission. They got loads of hot dogs, chicken nuggets, mashed potatoes for Miss Drass, mini corn dogs, soda, and other delicious food. All of a sudden, the Dynamos headed for aisle 6. "Not the candy aisle!" screamed Miss Drass, but it was too late. The Dynamos went absolutely insane in the candy aisle. They busily filled cart after cart with gummy worms, M&Ms, lollipops, gums, Sour Patch Kids, Airheads, Nerds, candy bars, and every other kind of candy they could get their hands on. "Get down here and help." Finally, the shopping was finished. They pushed the carts, 15 in all, toward the checkout. "Hey, Miss Drass," said CJ, "how are we going to pay for all this?" That's when Miss Drass got an evil grin on her face. She put her hand into her pocket and yelled, "Sheriff off duty!" Then she pulled out Mrs. Houghton's credit card. "Where did you get that?" asked Crystal. "I found it," said Miss Drass. "Cash or credit card?" asked the cashier. "Credit card!" yelled the Dynamos as they handed her Mrs. Houghton's credit card. After the Dynamos had loaded all of the supplies into the bus, Miss Drass checked her phone. There was a text from Emily. "Logan wants us to meet the Comets group in Baltimore Harbor," Miss Drass announced. Drew drove the bus, not as crazily as Cohen had, to Baltimore Harbor. Once we got there, we found the Comets group at the dock. They had managed to rent us an awesome boat. "Hey, where'd you find this sweet boat?" Najee asked the Comets. "Never mind that," said Jacob. "Load her up." All of the Dynamos helped to load the boat with supplies and dynamos, park the bus, and push away from the dock. 41 degrees, 46 north, 50 degrees, 14 west. "Here we come," yelled the Dynamos. It took 4 days of smooth sailing to reach our mystery destination. We spent our day having tons of fun on the waterbed, except when the Dynamos tried to roll around on it at 5 a.m. when Miss Drass was sleeping. Ah! We also went deep sea fishing, tubing, and played on the water trampoline. Every time the boys went missing, Miss Drass found them playing video games inside the boat. Finally, on April 6th, around 3 p.m., the engine stopped. All the Dynamos crowded around the railing. "We're here," Logan happily announced. "Where's here?" Walter asked. 41 degrees, 46 north, 50 degrees, 14 west, said Logan. "Same question," said Walter. "Where are we?" "Look around," said Logan. We looked around. All there was around us was deep, deep ocean water and some floating ice. "This is the exact spot of the sinking of the Titanic," yelled Logan. "Oh," said the Dynamos. "But why are we here?" Logan asked Marshall. "Because I need your help," Logan said. "I'm planning to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic by raising it from the ocean floor." "What?" screamed the Dynamos. Logan just grinned. "Okay, Logan, reality check," said Leia. "We thought you weren't kidding about the whole raising the Titanic thing. We thought you wanted to see it, take some pictures, you know." "But rust is destroying the Titanic," argued Logan. "If we don't save it eventually, it'll disappear forever." Said Tyler. "Logan makes a good point there." "Hold it, Logan," said Miss Drass. "It's illegal to salvage from the Titanic's final resting spot without permission from RMS Titanic Incorporated. Eli held up a piece of paper from RMS Titanic Incorporated. "Where did you get that?" asked Veronica. Eli pointed at Logan, and Logan just grinned. Okay, enough chatting," said Logan. "I want that boat up here no later than April 15th. "Okay, Dynamos," said Ryan, "get your brains working. I need options for getting that ship up here, and I need them in 1 hour. The Dynamos ran off into groups to brainstorm. By the next morning, the Dynamos were assembled and ready, dressed in wetsuits. Salvage attempt number 1, invented by Wade, Natalie, Connor, Lily, and Trista, involved wrapping chains around the Titanic and pulling up with winches and a crane to raise the ship. The Dynamos headed down into the deep ocean in their submarines to try out the plan. Eight hours later, the Dynamos returned without the Titanic. "The boat is too heavy to chain up and pull because of all the water inside it," said Zion. "We need to think of a way to make the boat lighter," said Leia. "Let's try number 2, said CJ. "How about this idea by Crystal, Eli, Veronica, Sydney, and Tyler?" asked Walter. Salvage attempt number 2 involved filling the ship with ping pong balls. The balls were light and filled with air. The more balls in the ship, the less water. Eventually, the ship would be light enough to race. The Dynamos filled the submarines with millions of ping pong balls and headed back to the Titanic. 8 hours later, the Dynamos were back with millions of crushed ping pong balls. "What went wrong?" Minerva asked. "Well," said Miss Drass, "the deeper into the ocean you go, the more pressure there is. The pressure pushed all the air out of the ping pong balls, which crushed them. Also," said Marshall, "the holes in the ship allowed the ping pong balls to float out of the ship. That made it hard to fill." Wade had been looking through the stack of ideas. "How about this one?" he asked. "Top secret. Do not read this." The Dynamos read through the plan written by Najee, Andrew, Emily, Eric, and Leia. "It's absolutely insane," said Olivia. "But it might work," said Lily. "It might," said Miss Drass. "I just hope we have enough time." "It's absolutely insane, but it might work." The next morning, the Dynamos headed back down to the ocean floor with inflatable moon bounces. Prince Melvin of Bubbletopia stayed on the ship to man the helium tanks floating on the surface. The Dynamos put the inflatable moon bounces into both ends of the Titanic and attached the hoses from the helium tanks to them. We sent Prince Melvin the message to turn on the tanks. The Dynamos watched as the moon bounces slowly filled with helium. Finally, there was a loud scraping noise, and the Titanic slowly began to rise up from the ocean floor. 8 hours later, the Titanic again floated on the surface of the water, thanks to the moon bounces, and some ropes that held it in place next to our boat. We did it! Just then, we heard the drone of a plane overhead. "What's that?" asked CJ. "It's a plane," yelled Olivia. Minerva checked her watch. "It's April 15th, she said. "That's the plane that normally flies over every year to drop a wreath." Before we knew it, reporters were leaning out of the plane yelling questions at us. "Who are those kids? It's the Titanic!" Flash bulbs were going off all over. "We're gonna be famous!" yelled Jason. It took several days to tow the Titanic to shore. It was rusty and very fragile. When the Dynamos finally pulled up to the dock with the Titanic 10 days later, they were surprised to see 2 familiar faces waiting for them at the dock. "Who's that at the dock?" asked Connor. "It looks like Mrs. Hilliard and Mrs. Hawk," said Zion. "They look mad," said Ryan. "I wonder why." "You stole our boat!" yelled Mrs. Hilliard as soon as we dropped anchor. "Your boat?" asked Natalie. "But the Comets group said they rented this boat." "They didn't," said Mrs. Hawk. "They stole it, and we want it back now." "No problem," said Miss Drass with a grin. "We have our own boat now." The RMS Titanicamo. The end.